This is the legendary radio icon, Dr. Demento.
Dr. Radio.
You might say he's the Alan Freed of comedy music and Demento music.
Very good.
And I've been a huge fan since the time I'm a little kid. And while Dr. Demento continues his show weekly on drdemento.com, and there does continue to be comedy music, I felt that the world was not really exporting it to the extent that it had when I was a kid in the 70s and into the 80s, which was really, I feel, kind of the golden era of the novelty music genre. And I've worked in punk rock for many years. I've been a punk rock fan, and I've worked with some of the most iconic punk bands, the Ramones and the Misfits. I have a band of my own called Osaka Popstar, and I'd always thought it would be fun and cool to do a punk rock tribute to the Dr. Demento show, where we'd have different punk bands essentially doing punk rock cover versions of the novelty songs that you would hear on the show. So I had this in mind, but hadn't approached Dr. Demento about it yet, and in a certain way, I guess you could say that the Beatles, Cap'n Crunch cereal, and German outsider artist named Klaus Bayer brought us together. To make a very long story short, a German outsider artist who does strictly Beatles covers in German language and does not have a very good voice, but has a lot of spunk and spirit that, to the extent that you just cannot help but love it, covered some of my Osaka Popstar material. And I had sent it to Dr. Demento, figuring, well, this is the only DJ I can think of that might be willing to play something like this. Dr. Demento not only played that, but played it back to back with a song that I wrote for Osaka Popstar called Where's the Captain, which is like a punk rock homage to Cap'n Crunch cereal. And Dr. Demento wrote me and said, thanks for sending this stuff. I played not only Klaus Bayer, but your original version of the song that he covered. Check it out, it's on my show. We kept in touch, and then shortly thereafter I pitched the concept to Dr. Demento for Dr. Demento Covered in Punk. And what did you think, Doc, when I made that proposal to you?
Oh, just another crazy idea from one of my crazy fans. So it took a little bit of convincing, but the more contact I had with John, the more I felt that he really was sincerely interested in making this into something that would take my career to another level. So, so there we went, and the album just came out magnificently, and though the inspiration is mine, and I'm very proud to take credit for it, the realization of that inspiration is all John. I mean, he produced all the sessions, matched the artists with the songs, got involved with all the necessary attorneys and stuff like that, and the royalties, and figured out all that stuff, and kept the thing in a very spirited direction, and also engaged some of the finest artists in the world, several of whom are here on their own at Comic-Con, like Drew Friedman, who did the front cover. And you just open, especially the vinyl edition, and there's just there's a wealth of wonderful illustrations on just about every page. So, and that kind of semi-iconic new portrait of William Shatner is kind of a key note.
A key note to note on that is that the artist is Stephen Blickenstaff, who's sitting on our far right here. And Stephen, while he's done a lot of great work, something that he's most famously known for is for creating and illustrating the cover of the Cramps' Bad Music for Bad People album. And I wanted to have Steve reinterpret that cover with William Shatner in the role of Lux Interior, because William Shatner covers the Cramps song Garbage Man for this record. Something I haven't mentioned yet is that the concept then grew from not only punk bands doing covers of novelty comedic songs, but then I thought it'd be fun to mix it up and have some demented twists on punk classics. So William Shatner covers Garbage Man by the Cramps, Weird Al Yankovic does Beat on the Brat by the Ramones, and Andy Merrill, the voice of Brack among many others, does Institutionalized by Suicidal Tendencies, fully in character as Brack.
Don't ask me to perform it.
Oh, just wait. But on the art, Steve, do you want to talk a little bit about giving a new life to your Cramps' Bad Music for Bad People album cover with William Shatner?
Sure.
when you contacted me to do it, to ask if I would do it, I was wondering if it was possible to make William Shatner look like the zombie that was on the cover of Bad Music for Bad People. And it took a little bit of going around until we finally came up with something that seemed like it would work. Like, originally we were going to try to do him as modern day William Shatner, but it just, I don't know if people would have recognized it with the hair. So we went with the classic Star Trek look.
And Steve totally nailed it. And William Shatner gave permission for this and was all for it and had a great sense of humor and spirit about it. And the other piece side by side with that Steve had done is the Demented Punk logo. Demented Punk is my record label that put the record out. And what I had asked Steve for is Steve, like I am, is a huge fan of Basil Wolverton and Plop Comics. And I basically told Steve I wanted Zap issue number 2's crumb art as if done by Basil Wolverton through Steve Blickenstaff's splendor, and that is the piece. And then finally, Steve also did the back cover, which is representative of Fish Heads, the #1 most requested song of all time on the Dr. Demento show, which my band Osaka Popstar, which Dennis Dyken and Dean Rispler are also a part of and play on. That's the first song that
Thank you. I don't know, is this working?
Yes.
I was misunderstood. I thought we were here to rewrite season 8 of Game of Thrones. Am I in the wrong? I'm in the wrong. No, in all seriousness, this record it's amazing. It's an amazing record, and the experience of being able to do this with John, first of all. But John makes me do 3,000 guitar tracks, and so I get a workout too, which is great. But other than that, it's pretty amazing to be on a record with not only Dr. Demento, who's one of my favorites, but with William Shatner. We did a song, The Thing by Phil Harris, which is one of my mom's favorite songs ever, with Adam West, like right before he died. So that was really exciting. We did a song with Fred Schneider from B-52s. And the fact that I was able to play in a room, in a band, songs with this guy here, with Dennis Dyken, who not only plays with the Smithereens, also plays with Ronnie Spector, who was the best one of that.
Dennis, go, please.
Well, all love for me. Thanks for being here, everybody. Thanks, John, for calling. Thanks for having me on the record. Doctor, it's great to see you. Yeah, it's great to be a part of all you guys. Nice to see you. When I was a kid, I had a model. I was a much bigger Star Trek fan when I was a little kid. I still like it, but I was really into it when it was originally airing. And what's the spaceship called? Enterprise, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I had a model of the Enterprise when I was about 9 or 10. And I was into building models, mostly cars and like Superman and the horror stuff. But the Enterprise was really, did you have it? Did you have that model?
I did not, no.
It's really
I was more of a Star Wars guy, but I like William Shatner's musical career even more so than Star Trek, although I do like Star Trek.
But my point being, it was so intricate to put this thing together. It was really different than doing Frankenstein or Washington crossing the Delaware. I had that model too. Aurora models. And all I'm trying to say is when I was a kid, building this model, and somehow you could tell me, 40 years from now, you're going to be playing on a track that William Shatner is singing on. Yeah, it would have blown my mind, and it still blows my mind that it actually happened. And Adam West, and as Dean mentioned, and even to play drums on an Uncle Floyd track was a real big deal for me, because we grew up watching Uncle Floyd, as I'm sure many of you have. The Smithereens got our first TV break on the Uncle Floyd show in 1980, and we used to go see him perform at the Coach House in Scotch Plains, and always admired his piano playing and his stage persona, and I really got a sense of his piano playing when I had to add drums to an existing piano track. And it was a bit of a challenge, because when you're a solo performer, especially doing it for 60 years, you just kind of go to your own rhythm and singing on piano. And this is no slag on Uncle Floyd, but he has his own sense of time and tempo, so we had a lot of fun matching up the drums to the piano. It actually was fun. It was challenging, but it was. Anyway, I got to work with some of my heroes, and I thank you.
Thank you. Now, Ann